This is huge. Swiss luxury watchmaker IWC, which is worth billions by the way, has sent a legal threat to a small Chinese company for selling a watch worth just a few $100s. And that single fact should make everyone in the watch world pause, because this may have never happened before. This is potentially a first. So let's take a look at what the hell is going on. Recently, IWC Schaffhausen issued a cease and desist letter to Chinese micro brand shutdown, forcing them to halt production to a watch widely known as the Engineer. The reason was pretty obvious to anyone who has ever seen an IWC Engineer. The case shape, the integrated bracelet, the industrial design language, it all pointed unmistakably toward one of IWC's most iconic models. The big difference between these watches, however, is the price. The IWC Engineer costs $12,700. The shutdown Engineer, just $250. Shutdown did not deny the accusation, and also you could argue that they are not pretending to be IWC. The watch was branded clearly, priced transparently, and sold to an audience that knew exactly what it was buying. Still, the legal pressure was enough that shutdown chose to stop production rather than risk a prolonged fight with a Swiss luxury giant. Subsequently, shutdown posted a message on their website saying, "We need to say goodbye." As we have tried to make it look different from its original design, it was still not enough. The whale is constantly attacking us. Since we are not willing to battle this big whale all year round, we let go from this situation. After today, it won't be sold again, and it will not be produced in this design again. What made this situation explode online wasn't necessarily the legal action itself, but the reaction from people like me and you. Because the shutdown Engineer wasn't just another cheap knockoff, it was by many accounts genuinely good. Many buyers swear by it, saying it had solid finishing, a reliable automatic movement, a coherent design, and of course a price that put it within reach of people who can never realistically justify spending thousands on a real Engineer. Also, for many enthusiasts, this wasn't about deception, this was more about participation. It allowed people with limited disposable income to experience a design language that has long been locked behind luxury pricing. And that may be the uncomfortable truth at the center of this story. The shutdown Engineer succeeded not because it stole customers from IWC, but because it exposed how many people admire the Engineer aesthetic without being completely alienated by its price. It felt like someone had finally delivered what many believe the original should have been offering all along: strong design without the insane price tag. This inevitably brings us to the debate that has plagued the watch industry for decades: homage versus originality. On one side, people argue the design is intellectual property, the product of heritage, investment, and creative risk, and that allowing close copies undermines the very innovation enthusiasts claim to love. On the other side are collectors who see homage watches as a form of appreciation rather than theft, especially when branding is clear and there is no attempt to mislead. The shutdown case, some may say, sits squarely in this grey area. It wasn't a counterfeit, but it also wasn't subtle. Maybe that's why it became a lightning rod. But the most provocative question raised by this whole debacle isn't whether shutdown crossed a legal line, it's whether IWC's reaction reveals something deeper. From a strictly legal standpoint, IWC did exactly what any luxury brand is expected to do. Trademark law often requires active enforcement, and failure to act can weaken future claims. Optics also matter, especially in an age where luxury brands increasingly sell narratives rather than necessity. When a brand charging 5 figures feels compelled to shut down a $300 alternative, it does invite speculation. Is this about protecting creativity or about protecting pricing power? Some collectors argue that this kind of legal aggression signals insecurity. If a watch's desirability collapses the moment a cheaper, well-made alternative exists, then perhaps what's being sold was never just craftsmanship, but exclusivity itself. And exclusivity, once challenged, can become fragile. In my opinion, it all boils down to one major concept. I don't think the shutdown Engineer threatened IWC's revenue directly. It threatened the idea that only luxury brands are capable of producing compelling, emotionally resonant timepieces. At the same time, dismissing IWC's position would be naive. Without design protection, the incentive to innovate simply doesn't exist. Luxury brands invest heavily in engineering, marketing, and so on, and they have a legitimate interest in preventing their most recognizable designs from being diluted. Perhaps the problem is that the modern watch market has changed. Manufacturing quality has globalized. Finishing standards have risen, and the gap between luxury and affordable is no longer as visually obvious as it once was. So what does this whole drama mean for the future of Homage watches? The clash between IWC and Shutdown isn't just a legal dispute between two companies, it's potentially a snapshot of this shifting industry. Are more Homage watches going to receive further aggression from luxury brands now? Brands such as Rolex, Tudor and Cartier, who all have hundreds of homages and copies running around. Will buyers and lower budgets suddenly be made to feel extremely bad for owning a Homage watch? I guess only time will tell. In a world where a $250 watch can provoke a century-old Swiss institution into legal action, one thing is clear. The conversation about value in watchmaking is far from settled, and it's only getting louder. Okay, thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about this whole drama and debate around these two companies and the wider issue at hand here with Homage watches. Be sure to subscribe to this channel as well, because there is bound to be an update to this story and you don't want to miss it.